Hello, I'm Dave from DinoPC, and this is the GTX. Ask and you shall receive. You want to know more about our products? This is a brand new product that's just on the market, and I'm going to give you a top tip to get you guys the best performance to price ratio on this computer. So this is the GTX. This was born of our good chum Silas, who wanted to make a dual card system on our website that was less than £1,500. So we wanted to make a system under £1,500. This system in particular is £1,449. You get a 240GB SSD, a 2TB redundant storage hard drive. You get Gigabyte's Z170XP-SLI motherboard, a i5 processor 5500, and the best bit of them all, you get two 980s. The fact of the matter, this is going to be able to push 4K above and beyond the Call of Duty. On Call of Duty, this will be able to run VR 4K, absolutely no problem, between 50 and 60 frames a second on medium settings. Unfortunately, someone has stolen my 4K monitor, so we only have a 1080p monitor to show you what it can do, which means we can only benchmark a few games, but I'm still going to do that for you anyway. At the end of the video, I'm also going to be giving you my 2 cents on what is the best configuration to use on this bad boy. Because while two 980s are great for under £1,500, there is an SLI system that you can do with this as a base for £1,150, which means you get like 4K VR gaming for like £1,150. It's amazing. So what are the benefits of SLI gaming and what are the pitfalls? Let's have a quick talk about it. To run SLI in a system, you need a few compatible things, starting with the motherboard. If your motherboard does not support SLI, you won't be able to run two graphics cards inside of it. Luckily, we thought of that already by going with this Gigabyte board. You need to have two compatible cards. Until DirectX 12 is released, this means you basically need the same model of card. So in this one we've got two of the same MSI 980s, although if you were to run two 970s, two 950s, or two 980 Ti's or two Titan X's, it would work just fine. Non-reference cards can also be SLI'd with each other. So if I had a card from MSI and I had a card from Asus, but they were both 980s, they would still be able to run in SLI. This, however, is known as a gaming cardinal sin, and it should never be done because it means that you have two different looking cards in your PC. This is a big no. If you're buying a brand new card, you should be able to get it for the same or less price than you bought your original card for. There is no need to put two non-reference cards in your computer. Unless you're Silas. Sorry. If you are using Crossfire, it has a little bit more wiggle room. For example, if you took a Radeon 7950 and a Radeon 7970, they would actually be able to crossfire with each other. That is basically exactly the same as SLI, but AMD's version. You can check on NVIDIA's SLI page and on AMD's Radeon page which graphics cards are successfully be able to crossfire an SLI with each other. Most people would generally get a single card. This is what I have done. I've got a single 980 Ti in my build at home, and then buy another card down the line once your computer starts chugging a little bit. What we generally advise at DinoPC is that you buy the best possible card for the money that you can. So if you can afford a 980 Ti, buy a 980 Ti, and then buy a second one in a few years' time. This is what I chose to do. However, looking on the price of what we can do here now with two graphics cards, this is kind of making me wish I'd rethought my strategy. Once you have both cards and a necessary bridge between them, an SLI bridge, Crossfire bridge, whatever, make sure that you can SLI and enable it in your settings. Two graphics cards. Does this mean you're going to get twice the RAM, twice the performance, twice the awesome? Unfortunately, no, not really. While both cards have 4 GB of VRAM in each model, that doesn't mean that you get 4 plus 4 equals 8 GB of VRAM. Unfortunately, that means at the moment you only get 4. So 4 plus 4 equals 4. They taught me maths wrong in school. A few other cons as well. 2 video cards stacked close together is of course going to be throwing out more heat. I'm currently baking right now. It's also going to draw more power as well. So while a single 980, you might only need a 450 watt power supply, with 2, you're going to need slightly more. A DinoPC, we recommend a minimum of 750 watts, with preferable 850 watt power supply, just so you get that little bit of extra wiggle room in case anything goes wrong. SLI also not will, create something called micro stuttering. This is the thing that makes the video look a teeny bit choppy. Maybe you get some screen tearing going on, maybe it's not quite as smooth as you'd wish. This mostly happens to people at lower frame rates, however, which with 2 980s, you're not really going to have low frame rates, to be honest. So, in my opinion, is SLI worth it? Of course it is. If, for whatever reason, a game will refuse to run SLI or is a bit choppy on SLI, you can always change to a single card by simply disabling the second one in the settings. This means you get the best of both worlds. You get to decide, do I run it on a single card or do I run it on a dual card? Dual cards are going to be able to make you run at 4K settings, which is unbelievable considering that you're going to be able to get a 4K machine for under £1,500, and we are working on making a 970 SLI system in the future, but you guys have heard enough about SLI. It's time to show you the real benefits of why we have made this system. So what you can see running right now over here is our Unigine Valley benchmark. Unigine Valley is a synthetic benchmark designed to tax GPUs to the max and throw out as much heat as is possible and use up as many of those CUDA cores and that beautiful RAM as possible. We've just finished this at 1080p ultra max settings on everything, anti-aliasing cranked full, and we have got this is an average FPS score of 108 frames per second on 1080p on ultra on everything. We have maxed out at 173 frames per second. There isn't a monitor that you can buy in the shops at the moment that will be able to match that. The minimum FPS is 34, so even though the minimum FPS might have been just for a split second, it's still not lower than a console would run, which is absolutely incredible. We get a score of 4,537. I would deem a good score on this to be a playable score, rather. A playable score on this to be 1,500. So the fact that it's pushing out over 4,500 kind of makes me wish I'd actually bought a dual 980 system rather than a single card solution. But enough of synthetic benchmarks. As I said, we have only got a few games to benchmark on this bad boy, but let's do that now.
So as you can see here in Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, we have unlocked the frame rate by using a little text editor. We're getting a blistering 115 frames per second, and we're only using half of each GPU's power, as you can see by the percentage from GPU 1 and 2. All of the settings are cranked completely to max. There are no settings that isn't on full right now. Of course, as the smoke and debris get more and more prominent, we're going to see more and more GPU usage. One of the GPUs will always be slightly hotter than the other because of the way they are stacked inside the computer. And the more things that happen on screen, the more the GPU will be used. But at the moment, we're getting a beautifully stable 110 to 115 frames per second. Now that we've got some more fire elements and smoke, the GPU usage is going up. But because of the power of both of these GPUs, you can also see that our frame rate is now at a 125 frames per second. For this particular build, the PC temperature does stay around 78 to 83 degrees Celsius when the side panel is closed, as it is currently. But enough about that. Let's go back and talk about my personal favorite config.
This isn't my personal favorite configuration. I'm going to give you a brand new Dave tip if you were planning on buying something like this, which is if you go to the DinoPC website, click right here on the GTX system itself, go into the configurator and swap out the two 980s for two 970s, you can get the system for £1,150. You get a dual card system capable of running 4K. You would lose a bit of performance, admittedly, but not that much. The 970 is one of the best price to performance cards out there, and you can get two of them. This will still be able to run 4K, definitely be able to monster 1440p, and you're going to be able to get those super smooth frame rates. The best thing about the 970 system though is that because it is Nvidia's most popular card at the moment, it's going to have the most driver support available. Overall, I absolutely love this system. It's really cool. I just kind of wish I would have configured it before I bought my personal system at home. It's also worth mentioning that if you were to do the dual 970 solution on our website, you can upgrade to an i7 and get hyper-threading for about an extra £100 more, which is still less than the dual 980 system, but you get an i7 processor there as well. Something that is amazing for content creators out there. And we are definitely going to be making some content creator builds in the future with my help. So we might make like a base model for like £800, which is the perfect starter kit for doing YouTube and Twitch, and then maybe a £1,500 beast that's perfect for rendering and multi-core usage, and then just an ultra mega beast in the future that will be able to do everything if you're a huge content creator out there and you really want an awesome PC. Let us know in the comment section below if you would like us to do that. But next week, it's something awesome. We get to have Nico on DinoPC.co.uk, and finally, we get Silas. Wednesday, we're recording. He's trying not to react right now, but it's okay because he's going to be in the show. I'll make it happen. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Right, Z170 XP-SLI.
Yeah, that is, okay, that was right. Okay, sorry.
You arsehole.
That was correct.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. I was on point. You're on the blooper reel now. GG! Thank you. I owe him beer money. I am old enough to go out and buy my own beers. It's just that we have a beer system here. You get beers in the fridge, and once the day is over, the working day is done, you can have a beer, and then you tick your name on the sheet, and then at the end of the week, somebody comes and collects beer money, and I owed beer money, and I got some change. I'm 24. I don't have to get other people to go and buy me beer, I swear.